Hi everyone. So my name's Marisa, and I was lucky enough to be able to study La'au Hawaiian herbal medicine with Humulavan Ohai at UH before he passed. And that was built up from a lifetime of interest and fascination with herbal medicine, and has branched into other areas, but that's sort of the foundation of what my practice is studying with him. And so it's really cool because there's a lot of medicinal plants everywhere. Like you walk down the street and if you know what you're looking for, almost everywhere you go there's something that can be used as medicine. The plants that I brought today came out of my yard, and May brought a couple from her yard. And so there's medicine to be found everywhere. And part of it for me is like an empowered health care for myself. So of course there's always a time and a place for a doctor and for prescription medicine, but for little things here and there, for me and my family, I have 2 young children, 2 and 4. I try to use as much natural medicine as possible. So real basic, tea leaf. Who doesn't have this in their yard or have access to it somewhere? It can be used for bringing a fever down. You can actually wrap a child's body or an adult's body, lay the leaves on top, and it'll pull out the heat. You pull the leaf away and it'll be hot. And then you rinse it out with cool water and apply it again, and it pulls the heat out again. And it's also commonly used as like if you make a poultice, which is if you've ground up the plant material for purposes of like a cut or a wound or an injury. You make the poultice and you put it on the body, and you need something to hold it in place. You can use a tea leaf, and then modern day is add saran wrap around too, maybe some duct tape, but but the tea leaf is always on there also. And then Naupaka. What's cool about a lot of La'au is that where you find it is what is a place where you would use it. So Naupaka you can use if you get any injuries in the ocean, cuts or scrapes from the reef, and you can just rip a leaf off and chew it and apply it. And it has antiseptic properties and keeps the infection from starting. And also the berries you can mash up and use them as sunscreen. Don't know what the SPF would be, but if you're ever in a bind, you can use the berries for sunscreen.
I also heard that you can use the berries for eye drops.
For eye drops?
Yeah.
I've actually never heard that.
So
That's
you
cool.
squeeze the berry in your eye.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll have to try it. Speaking of eye drops, Hawaiian chili pepper or Nioi, you can make into eye drops. And if you're a very brave person, you can use them. You dilute them with water, but it helps to correct vision, and also if you have pterygium, it helps to release the pterygium and it goes away. Or you can. For a while, I was actually doing it very regularly, daily. You have the thing and you're like, oh, I feel it coming. It burns for a few seconds and then you see really clearly in really like vibrant colors. Hawaiian chili pepper. So
how do you dilute it?
you would blend a chili pepper with like 2 cups of water and then strain it. You don't want any seeds left inside. And with most La'au, it's good in the refrigerator for 3 days, and then you would want to make again so that it keeps potency. And Nioi in general is like a catalyst for other herbs. If you add it to anything that you've made, it helps it to be more powerful. It's really good at opening things, so it opens your pores, it opens your blood vessels, it helps to oxygenate the blood, and also like if you're feeling really sluggish, you take a shot of of chili pepper water. Not the like vinegar, you know, like you put on your food, but like put it the same way with the eye drops. You take a shot of that and you are wide awake. It's great for headaches, and in a pickle you can just eat a chili pepper. If you got a bad headache and you need something fast, and it works wonderfully. And then
you mentioned Naupaka at the ocean, but what about the mountain?
you know, similar. If you've got like a cut or a wound, yeah. It's not as commonly used because it's not as common, but you could definitely use it the same way.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Aloe. Yeah. Everybody has in their yard. So aloe burns and cuts and scrapes. Also, the skin is a laxative. So if you, it's very bitter. If you need a laxative, the way that I was taught to use it is for an opuna'au cleanse, so a stomach cleanse. And the gel can be used along with a poultice. So if you've got, there's a plant called comfrey, which I don't have an example of, but it's a really powerful herb from Russia. And comfrey can regenerate cells, and it makes injuries heal so quickly. Broken bones, bruises, scrapes, cuts. It's a really, really powerful plant, but it has little fine hairs on it, and so when you make a poultice with it, you want to make sure that you've got like a barrier between the comfrey and your skin, and aloe acts as a really good barrier for that. And then on the note of burns, honey is also really, really good for burns. So if you burn yourself in the kitchen, grab the honey from your cabinet and put it on your burn, and it soothes it immediately. And it also reduces the inflammation and keeps it from getting infected. And lavender essential oil, if you've got any lavender on hand. May brought some Uhaloa, which was really cool because I was actually going to go gather and then I didn't get a chance to. Uhaloa grows everywhere where it's dry. It's all over Diamond Head, it's all over like Makapu on the lighthouse hike. It's everywhere. And it's really, really good for respiratory issues. You would actually normally pull up the whole plant. You want the root. You scrape off the outer bark and then you cut away the inner bark and it peels off in this really nice kind of coil. And it's really good for respiratory trouble. And a tincture is a really good way to use that. So tincture is when you basically infuse herbs into alcohol, and you want to use really high proof clear alcohol. And that is a way to have your medicine easily accessible, because a tincture lasts for years and years and years. So,
How do you put it in vodka?
Vodka, yeah. Vodka, or like for me, I can't have vodka due to allergies, and so I would use like rum or really high proof tequila. Or Okolehau is a good one, because then you're sticking to. Did someone have a question? Over here.
What is that plant called?
Uhaloa. Yeah. And so the practice, when you gather plants, if there's any Pule people, you'll probably be familiar with this protocol, but when you gather plants for medicine, you want to kind of go inward and do a Pule, and then you always ask the plant's permission before you pull it. So sometimes they say no if you're really listening, but you want to make sure that you've asked permission, especially if you're taking the root, because the root, you're taking the life of the plant. And so normally when I harvest Uhaloa, the little seeds, flowers and seeds, I would take them all off and then put them back into the hole that I've taken the plant out of. It's also a really strong astringent, and so it's really good for tightening skin. It's great for wrinkles and for tightening pores.
How would you prepare that?
You could put it in witch hazel, which is also a really good astringent. Or if you have like an oil that maybe you use on your skin, you could put it in the oil. And on that same note, it's good for rinse. It shrinks, so if there's anything that you want to shrink, Uhaloa is really good for that. And then you can also use the leaves. So the leaves are just a little bit less of a strong medicine, but you can dry the leaves and make them into a tea that would be good for a lingering cough or chest cold. I didn't have any fresh, so I brought my bag of dried plantain or Lau Kahi, which is a weed that grows everywhere, and people are like trying to get it, spraying it to try to get it to be out of their yards. And guarantee if you go into that park across the street, there's going to be Lau Kahi in the grass. It comes the female, the wahine leaf is kind of like a spatulate spoon shape, and then the male leaf is really long and skinny, and they have tall sort of bunch of flowers that come out of the middle. And Lau Kahi is really good for bites and stings, and so if you get bit or stung while you're out in the field or wherever, you can chew that leaf and put it onto your bite or your sting, and it draws out the poison or the venom or whatever you've been bit or stung by, whatever they have. And this is actually a comfrey oil that I have brewing. So another method of preparation is to make an oil, and basically you wash your herbs really well, and then you make sure they're totally dry, because if there's water left, it can go rancid. But then you put it in your oil of choice. I think this is castor oil and olive oil. Castor oil is a good vehicle for the oil that you're using for injuries or achy muscles, because that's a property of castor oil, is it helps with aches and pains, helps things to kind of go deep.
The Comfrey is the herb from Russia?
Yes.
How do you spell Comfrey?
Comfrey. Comfrey. Yeah. So an oil, and this I will be making into a salve, and to make an oil into a salve, you basically just add beeswax, but it still is in the process of infusing.
How long does it take to infuse?
Anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months, depending on how potent you want it to be. And I leave this in a dark cupboard and then flip it every couple of days or whenever I remember. Sometimes my oils sit for like 6 months. I'm like, oh yeah. This is dried mamaki. So mamaki is a really good just overall health tonic. It's good for cholesterol and blood pressure. It's good for immune boosting. And mamaki is really readily available. I know there's actually quite a few companies now that are making tea. Yeah, and so that's what I'll use this for, is a tea. So a good rule of thumb if you're making tea is if it's the soft parts of the plant, leaves, stems, flowers, soft seeds, you will boil the water and turn it off, put the la'au in, and then cover it. If you're making tea with a root or something hard from the plant, then you put that in as you boil the water. And that's just so that you don't boil off the medicine. And so then there's also things like garlic and Olena and ginger, all of which are very immune boosting. Olena or tumeric, if you're not familiar with the Hawaiian name, has become really popular over the last few years because it's really, really good for you. It's a great immune booster, it's good for respiratory problems, and I think the best benefit is that it's very highly anti-inflammatory. A lot of us are walking around with lots of inflammation issues, but sore joints, arthritis, any inflammation of the body, Olena is really good for. And it's actually really good to take it in with a little bit of black pepper. Something about their chemical compositions. The black pepper helps it to absorb into your body a little bit better. But
Isn't it supposed to be good for your kidneys?
yeah, it's good. hopefully like it. So it's like a good daily. Yeah. And then there's also like blue vervain. If anyone hikes a lot, blue vervain is all over the place. It's got these little bluish purple flowers, really tiny. But that one, and also pohekula or gotukolo, which is a ground cover. It's kind of a little heart-shaped leaf. Wish I had all the examples to show you guys, I'm sorry, but both of those are really good for memory and for brain health and for nervous system health. And pohekula, actually, if you drink it as a tea before bed, it helps you to remember your dreams better. Over generations, the Alapa'au has adopted a lot of plants. So a lot of what I learned, there are not native plants, they're not canoe plants, they're fully, from Russia, from all over. And that is kind of like the modernization of the practice. And there are very traditional practitioners who would only use traditional plants, but I was taught by someone who was not very traditional, hence how we taught at university, which was very frowned upon by a lot of people in the community, but he wanted to share the knowledge before the knowledge got lost. And so yeah, it's la'au is everywhere. You can buy some at the grocery store, you can buy some in your yard. And while there are ways to make it very easily accessible, it also is, it's a process. You have to gather, you have to prepare, sometimes you have to wait 2 weeks. And so when I had my first child, I realized that when my kid is sick, I'm not gonna pack her and take her into the mountains and go gather la'au. I needed something that was right there and easy, and I needed it right away. And so that is how I got into essential oils. And I am an essential oil educator now. And what is so appealing to me is that you've got la'au, you have plant medicine from all over the world in your medicine cabinet. And you want to make sure if you're using essential oils that you're using pure and potent oils. It's an unregulated market, so a lot of places are carrying oils that are very inexpensive but are adulterated, and if you're using them for medicine, you really want to make sure that you're using pure oils. So you have a huge array of medicine right there, and you just kind of learn little bits and pieces as you go, but there's a lot of sources out there to help you with figuring out, okay, my daughter has a cough, what is good for her cough? I would use Breathe for her cough. It's a blend that doTerra makes, and it works so well for anything respiratory. There's all sorts of immune boosting oils, anything for aches and pains, for inflammation, for emotional benefits. When you take an inhalation of an essential oil, it goes directly into your limbic brain. And so just a smell from the palms of your hand can make a huge difference in the emotions that you're feeling. And so that can be to get you from sad to happy, or sleepy to awake, or
The other way around.
nervous. Yeah, or the other way around, exactly. I was really nervous walking in here, so I rubbed peace all over me and calmed down a little bit. Nerves came back up when I stood up here. But so my personal practice has sort of bridged the two, and I use oils on a regular basis, and I use la'au on a regular basis, and then I make things with both. So, for example, I make elderberry syrup, and elderberry syrup is a really, really good thing to have around for cold and flu season. If it's a really good immune boost, and it has a lot of vitamin C, a lot of antioxidants, and it's really yummy. My kids think that it's dessert, just like Mom Lynn. But I make it with dried herbs, and then I also add in essential oils that are immune boosting. And I make salves that I use oil where I've infused with la'au, and then I add in essential oils that have similar properties. So you can, blend the two avenues, and it's like a way modernization of an ancient practice and ancient medicine from all over the world. So I don't know how my time is. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
Are there any books you can recommend on this topic?
Yeah, I can't remember any. If you go to any like native books, or what's the one that was down by Ward and they moved?
Na Mea?
Na Mea. Any store like that would have good books on the alapa'au. Isabella Abbott has a really good one on medicinal. I can't remember the name of the book. I can picture the cover. There's a great one, a reference book that I use for oils called, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm sorry, I'm totally blanking. I also have an app on my phone, so let me look at the app name. Essential Life book, and that's got a really good, easy to understand reference. There's an app too. I actually really like the app. You can just search an ailment, or you can search an oil, and it'll come up with, if you search the oil, it'll come up with everything that you can use it for. If you search the ailment, it will come up with any of the oils that are good for it and how to use them.
This is an app?
This is an app or a book. There's also a book, The Essential Life.
So you just go to the App Store and look for Essential Life?
Yeah, and it's a green icon with like a white leaf on it. Yeah. I'm gonna look.
the guy that works at Lion
Right.
So all oils you can eat, you can rub on, or you can put in a air thing, or is it
Not
specific?
all. So,
How do you know which one is which?
well, doTerra oils, which are the only ones that I use because I know that they're 100% pure. They have supplement facts on the bottles of oil that you can ingest, and on oils that you cannot ingest, there's no supplement facts. So, this is Deep Blue. It's really good for muscle pain. Pass this peppermint around. If anyone wants to take a big whiff of it, you can put a drop in your hand, rub them together, and do a nice big inhale, and it's super energizing. Or you can pass and just pass it on. But so yeah, you can ingest if it has supplement facts. I would not ingest an oil that you buy at Target or Walmart. You can take them in like an empty veggie capsule, and then you're taking like a pill, so it goes into your gut and opens up in your gut, and I've treated a lot of personal infections with that in place of going and getting antibiotics. It's just a matter of like trusting your body and listening when you have a big issue. You obviously need to go and see the doctor, but you can also take them in water. You can put them in food. Cooking with them is really fun. Oregano is really great for spaghetti sauce. Just go light-handed.
Have you read in the literature about the fact that in India Alzheimer's is so low because they consume curry, which has turmeric in it? Have you read that?
I have read that.
Oh,
Yeah. And they have a huge amount of turmeric in their diet.
I love it.
Yeah. It's a strong flavor, but I mean, even I wanted to juice some and bring in and have everyone take shots of it, but I'm sorry.
Shots of
I didn't get there. But yeah, I mean, with turmeric actually, it's really good for ear, nose, and eye infections. So you can grate it in like a cheese grater, and then strain it, and that pure juice you can drop directly into your ear, your eye, or your nose. Or if you've got a neti pot for like a sinus infection, you can run it through the neti pot. Yeah, and then you can keep that. I keep some in a dropper bottle in the fridge, and it lasts for a full year. Left like that in the fridge, yeah. Yeah.
So you sell those oils?
I do. Yeah, and I do like one-on-one consultations. So if anyone is interested in talking with me further, I can get your contact or give you my card.
Yeah.
I can smell it.
Smell it.